little herd of Dexters.
According to many, Dexters are the perfect family cow. And don't get us wrong, they have worked well for us. But there is a lot of hype about the breed, and in our experience, it's not always accurate. So we just had to get a Jersey heifer for science sake, and we'll do our best to share our experiences, comparisons, observations, and if we figure out any, conclusions. Now, it's only been about 9 months since we did our last heifer movie, and we only plan to ever do one heifer movie. So much has happened in the last year that we felt it really wouldn't be honest if we didn't do a second. So first, we'll run through a couple more observations that seem like they might be associated to the breeds. First off, let's talk about some temperament observations. We pretty much just left them in the field, and if they felt like dealing with us, then they were allowed to. If they wanted to come into the milking parlor during milking, they were allowed to do that too. And we found that Chocolate has, just of her own accord, gotten a lot more loving. She's really enjoying her pats. Her personality has completely changed. She used to be really flighty, and she'll be happy to get brushes anytime, especially along her chin. Yes, you big Heffendom. Rhea, on the other hand, still doesn't mind getting brushed, but she's lost that affectionate coziness that she used to have. She likes people, and she's not threatening or twitchy or nervous. She's just a little bit more apathetic. She just doesn't quite care for us as much as she used to. She'll let you hang all over her and bug her all day. After another 8 months of experience, we've noticed Clover's interest in getting brushed seems somewhat seasonal. Though no matter the time of year, Rhea is always the first to come when called, or come over and check us out when she's not called and we're just working around them. She loves to be around her humans, she just doesn't like being patted and brushed as much. We're also starting to think that temperament of the cow might not have anything to do with breed or genetics. Let me give you one example. First calf out of Valley was Wellington. He was a sweetheart. Until he got a lot bigger, he would let me touch him any time. He really didn't mind people. We were around him all the time in the milking parlor. And this is the counterpoint, Brisket. The third calf out of Valley treated the exact same, as much hands-on time, no really terrifying abusive experiences, but this thing is nuts. He's always escaping through the feedstock into the barn, pushing fences, breaking boundaries, doing anything he can do. He's terribly flighty and hates people, and he really doesn't let you touch him. Of course, I'm concerned about his tendency to kick a lot. He is undoubtedly adorable, but might end up freezer bound a little sooner than otherwise. But the exact same parents of these flighty nuts also produced this wonderful snuggly bull. The crazies and the sweethearts have been purebred Dexters, so I'm inclined to use caution when saying that a breed is a certain attitude. So now let's go off the farm and take a look at some key figures. I've put together this table comparing Dexters and Jerseys based on data gathered from at least semi-professional websites, except for where noted otherwise. You'll notice some wide ranges here, but you'll see some numbers here in bold that are based on scientific studies or third-party professional organizations. And while I am a huge fan of data, in about 5 minutes we'll talk about why this is entirely useless. So pause here if you want to explore more, or get ready to pause on the next couple screens, which show where the data came from and some additional really helpful resources. I'll put those links down in the description below. And if you have any excellent sources to add detail to this, put it in the comments as well. And Rhea has gotten pretty big. She is taller, longer, a little bit skinnier. Both of them are just fine with their udders being touched, and they really don't mind people messing with them.
Hey, sweetie. No? Stay. In about 10 minutes, Chocolate's going to her new home. We think she'll really love it there. We will miss her, but it's time for her to have a new adventure. We're only a little disappointed that we weren't able to finish our comparison like we'd hoped.
I liked chocolate.
But Willow, we had 7 cows, and you said, that's too many cows, isn't it?
No, I said, I need 16 cows.
16 cows? That's a lot of cows.
So I can milk them all the time.
Unfortunately, this hasn't come out at all as we planned. Now, both cows have gotten bigger. Clover ended up being in the mid 900 pound range, and at a little over 3 years, Rhea is tipping the scales at almost 1,100 pounds. She's gotten tall. Since our last video, Clover, the Dexter, did successfully breed. Rhea is still with us here. She's been super easy to care for and required no special maintenance or effort compared to the Dexters, and been on the same feed at the same time, and obviously she's bulked up pretty well. on that grass. She's had silent heat, but negative for pregnancy tests. We're giving another Ludolice injection series starting today. In the midst of having these parallel breeds, we've had our Belfair, who's a Jersey Dexter mix, turn out to be a wonderful cow.
Rhea developed an udder. In fact, it's streaming milk right now. And she shouldn't be bred. There's a possibility she bred and miscarried. And so we're trying to figure out what's going on. I put this video aside for more than a year, and it's time to just finish up. So where are we at? Well, Rhea, we enjoyed milking her for a good 6 months on that aborted calf. She's still been a bear to breed back.
This has also helped us start to understand maybe we aren't really after 2.5 gallons a day with the Jersey. And so we're a little less certain about our Jersey future as well. We don't really have anything left to compare. However, we'll dive in and talk about some of the big takeaways for us.
I'm going to compare cow breeds to buying a car. And I know that's odd, but bear with me. I think this will make sense at the end. As you know, there are purpose-focused cars like this truck. It's great for hauling a lot of stuff, but there's a cost of efficiency, and there's not a lot of seats in there. On the other hand, there are vehicles that are great for hauling people. There's a lot of sacrifices for that too. Fun being one of them, fuel efficiency another, but these are very different vehicles. You know that there are very different breeds intended for dairy and beef. But let's say you don't need to move people or things a lot, you just want to have a fun commuter to work, and you choose a sports car, something where you can throw down the roof even, and get some good efficiency and enjoy your driving experience. But even once you've chosen the breed of sports car, if you will, there is a wide range, and that's what I'd like to emphasize. From your commuter fun vehicle to performance vehicles, if you're more interested in track time, to something that you just want to kick around the countryside and enjoy the classic feel. All of these are entirely different experiences, even though they fall within that one group. But you say, I've heard that Dexters are dual purpose, or tri-purpose even. Well, let me introduce you to my most multi-purpose vehicle. This BMW 328 is a 4-seat vehicle, so the kids can even come along. I've got some cargo room, it's a hardtop, and it's a convertible, and it's a decent performance car. However, when you're going with that multi-purpose, you lose a lot of the functionality in compromise. I'm not going to pretend that this is my preferred vehicle for a track day. I'm not going to say that it's actually very comfortable for driving kids anywhere. I will admit that it is the vehicle that I use the most often, but those compromises to be good at a lot of things come at the cost of excellence at any one thing.
And I'm not saying that any of these are bad, they just have a different emphasis for different people who want different things. Let's make sure that as we look into buying a cow, you buy not only the breed, but the right emphasis within that breed, the right breeding that matches your needs. And not just to meet your needs, but to exceed them by a fair bit. And I say that because it can be really frustrating to operate an animal at its limits. Either expensive to be pushing the right diet to bump up meat yield, or frustrating to be easing out every last bit of milk that you can. It's not healthy for the animals either. And with our Dexters, we just found that we were pushing them too hard to get the milk we needed. We do like Dexters. They've been good for us. They're a great dual purpose animal, meaning they're good at milk and good at meat, but they're not unicorns. So if you're expecting to get 2 to 3 gallons a day with excellent cream content and calf sharing, plus 500 pounds of meat out of a 400-pound animal that only forages for food in the wilderness, you'll probably be unpleasantly surprised that that doesn't work.
And if your answer to that is, well, obviously, let's just take a moment to look at these quotes from reputable sources. Never mind all the forums and Facebook comments where people share the best examples of their best bred animals, perhaps with a little exaggeration added in. And beside these points, I'll put a couple of my thoughts for context.
What Dexters have been to us is an excellent medium to start from. This is our last purebred Dexter left, and he's a really good boy. We are really happy with where we ended up with our crossbred Belfairs. Daisy here gives about 1 gallon a day. She's given it through her whole lactation, even with calf sharing, which is about perfect for us. And she's a nice small size.
Looking back, if I were purchasing a cow again, I would focus less on purebred registered and more on a documented performance that met my specific needs. And what are your specific needs? Are you planning to sell beef to friends and family? Are you looking for a really small cow that doesn't intimidate you? Are you planning on milk and how much? If your family drinks 3 to 4 gallons a week, a Dexter that can produce half a gallon a day might seem perfect. But are you planning on making cheese too? That'll take another 2 to 5 gallons each time. Ice cream, butter, and all those products just keep taking more.
At the start of this video series, I said I was going to give a scientific, evidence-based approach. I spent tons of time combing through research papers and trying to find what I could. And what I started to find was consistent inconsistencies. Sure, there was some evidence of minute efficiencies, but the laws of livestock held true. Animals tended to eat a certain percentage of their weight. Meat recovery values were largely consistent. And just like those sports cars, a couple miles per gallon here and there, a few seconds less 0 to 60, isn't really what makes or breaks the decision. It's a much larger view of the whole.
There are wonderful examples of animals across several breeds. And identifying your needs and selecting some breeds that fit well with that is an important part of that decision. I'm suggesting, though, that finding the right animal within that breed might be an even more significant key to finding the right fit cattle for your farm.
This is Cozy Cow Farm.
We've learned a lot over the last couple years working our mid-century hobby farm,
We've grown, and so has our herd and flock.
but we still try to affordably increase our self-reliance while ensuring we and the kids are having fun.
Every day we find there is still more to learn.
So subscribe to join us on the journey.